Xstuds_1 says accidentally fired the flare gun. Shadow_Night15 says AE. Kikaboy14 says why this? Kikaboy14 says combat. Kikaboy14 says Vara inat. Kikaboy14 says it sucks. Shadow_Night15 says NH. Xstuds_1 says amazing loot chat. Xstuds_1 says oh shit. Kikaboy14 says why bro? Kikaboy14 says Shadow killed me. Kikaboy14 says fuck this. Kikaboy14 says I'm out. Shadow_Night15 says ALR lads time to run. Kikaboy14 says Kangaroo. Shadow_Night15 says the Seeker is here. Xstuds_1 says every time I die I disconnect. Xstuds_1 says amazing. Xstuds_1 says oh hell nah. Shadow_Night15 says you guys. Shadow_Night15 says it no-eeite. Xstuds_1 says yo chill. Shadow_Night15 says be time to leave the village. Kikaboy14 says I keep pressing T instead of G. Kikaboy14 says Crim Site. Shadow_Night15 says night has fallen. Kikaboy14 says WTF that. Kikaboy14 says WTF is Crimsit. Shadow_Night15 says building block. Shadow_Night15 says Studs, you're the only one left in the village. Shadow_Night15 says try to evac or loot. Kikaboy14 says diamonds. Shadow_Night15 says BTW Keek if I were you. Shadow_Night15 says I'd climb that hill. Shadow_Night15 says needs just live in the sea life as a Blaz-born. Natesky01 says Savannah has no rain. Natesky01 says so I'm essentially trapped. Natesky01 says he spawned on my ass. Shadow_Night15 says hey. Kikaboy14 says wonder who did that. Shadow_Night15 says at least we're not trapped anymore, haha. Shadow_Night15 says let me clear the weather for you. Natesky01 says shut the fuck up. Natesky01 says this is arguably worse. Shadow_Night15 says you're lucky the seeker is gone. Shadow_Night15 says it could have been even worse. Natesky01 says bath. Shadow_Night15 says PSST neat. Natesky01 says oh. Shadow_Night15 says also behind you. Xstuds_1 says finally. Shadow_Night15 says he stud. Shadow_Night15 says Zam Studs is laggy. Xstuds_1 says FR. Shadow_Night15 says Amel. Shadow_Night15 says needs already in the jungle. Shadow_Night15 says hey studs. Shadow_Night15 says look in the waters. Xstuds_1 says yes. Xstuds_1 says Xstuds_1 says later LMA. Shadow_Night15 says ALR. Shadow_Night15 says I'm gonna put down the Seeker now. Xstuds_1 says I see. Shadow_Night15 says okay he. Shadow_Night15 says is done for. Shadow_Night15 says now more lag. Xstuds_1 says y'all left when there's tons of loot and food here. Shadow underscore Night 15 says you missed that water spot studs. Natesky01 says we don't wanna die a million times over. Shadow underscore Night 15 says also staying is really rewarding. Shadow underscore Night 15 says good loot is hidden in the village. Shadow underscore Night 15 says varying from food to weapons to firearms to armor. Xstuds underscore 1 says I've gotten a full set of armor. I'll read. Shadow underscore Night 15 says Keek is just in a massive cave. Xstuds underscore 1 says M1 Garand. Shadow underscore Night 15 says being chased by a horde. Xstuds underscore 1 says y'all missed out. Shadow underscore Night 15 says I have found that. Shadow underscore Night 15 says LMAO studs you missed stuff. Natesky01 says survival is better than loot. Shadow underscore Night 15 says with the Garand. Xstuds underscore 1 says AE. Shadow underscore Night 15 says also I'd say check every farm. Shadow underscore Night 15 says real. Xstuds underscore 1 says amazing. Shadow underscore Night 15 says this is why you should loot the start area PPL. Xstuds underscore 1 says y'all FR missed out. Shadow underscore Night 15 says and tears a lot more here studs. Shadow underscore Night 15 says so get searching. Shadow underscore Night 15 says what the fuck ekek.
Hey bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!
Shadow underscore night 15 says damn.
Huh?
Xstuds underscore 1 says G. Xstuds underscore 1 says hi. Shadow underscore night 15 says hi. Natesky01 says studs you cursed this server with lag. Xstuds underscore 1 says LOL. Kakaboy14 says why can't I put it on? Shadow underscore night 15 says minus 321.36. Shadow underscore night 15 says minus 1423. Kakaboy14 says top 10 dungeons without chest. Xstuds_1 says real. Shadow_Night15 says you know. Shadow_Night15 says T-Hat I'm giving you hints. Shadow_Night15 says for where to find loot. Xstuds_1 says oh. Kikaboy14 says why can I not wear armor? Shadow_Night15 says cuz you got Elire D. Shadow_Night15 says Elytra duh asterisk. Kikaboy14 says fake. Kikaboy14 says that's dumb. Shadow_Night15 says you better get used to ranged weapons. Natesky01 says I heard that. Shadow_Night15 says you should def check out the chords I sent you, smiley face. Kikaboy14 Shadow_Night15 says worth the risk. Natesky01 says well but getting a better pick first. Shadow_Night15 says okay eek. Xstuds_1 says yo. Xstuds_1 says I keep teleporting to one place. Shadow_Night15 says I. Xstuds_1 says amazing. Xstuds_1 says y'all really did miss out. Shadow_Night15 says K equals WEC. Shadow_Night15 says well asterisk. Shadow_Night15 says Keek died so he back. Xstuds_1 says real. Shadow_Night15 says Keek was faster LMAO. Xstuds_1 says REA. Shadow_Night15 says race you both. Shadow_Night15 says this one's a VE3RY good one. Xstuds_1 says real. Shadow_Night15 says wow. Night15 says with its respective ammo. Xstuds_1 says G36C equals sacked K reference. Xstuds_1 says purgatory again. Shadow_Night15 says real. Xstuds_1 says amaze. Shadow_Night15 says I told ya, smiley face. Natesky01 says not to mention the lush cave. Kikaboy14 says kangaroo burger. Shadow_Night15 says real. Shadow_Night15 says yes. Xstuds_1 says I feel like this is enough stuff. Xstuds_1 says I got like 3 swords and 3 guns. Shadow_Night15 says row. Xstuds_1 says 4. Xstuds_1 says 4 swords. Xstuds_1 says gonna leave stuff here for Nate. Natesky01 says MMMMMMMMMM. Natesky01 says those look familiar. Shadow_Night15 says who's gonna be first to get into the tank. xstuds_1 says nothing. xstuds_1 says lol. Kikaboy14 says Lanchester. Shadow_Knight15 says Keek has it. Shadow_Knight15 says Lanchester SMG. xstuds_1 says oh. xstuds_1 says free anvil dough. Shadow_Knight15 says what do you two think of this T26E4 Super Pershing? xstuds_1 says yes. xstuds_1 says finna go to 0, 0. Shadow_Knight15 says Ral. Natesky01 says bro LC has conditioned me to crouch whenever I hear a growling noise. Shadow_Knight15 says true.